My name is Dr. Matthew Galati. I'm a medical doctor, founder of Brain Changes Initiative, and yes, a severe traumatic brain injury survivor myself. Sharing my own personal story and journey recovering from a severe traumatic brain injury and how I learned all about these lifestyle modalities and neuroplasticity and how it changed my brain and changed my life. Luckily, I was a very stubborn patient, and I have, as you could see, a very supportive family. And we started researching solutions to support my brain and to support my recovery. And one day I was walking through Chapters Indigo with my family, and I stumbled across a book which really became my Bible in the outpatient setting, a book called Spark, The Revolutionary New Science of Exercise in the Brain by John J. Rady. So it was really through Spark that I learned about this revolutionary new concept to myself called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt, rewire, and change. And essentially what neuroplasticity means is that with every experience, touch, physical sensation that we have, our brain learns to trigger thousands of neurons forming neural networks. And the more we practice any given skill or task or learning for that matter, our brain learns to trigger these same neural networks every time. And this is the way new learning takes place, or conversion of short-term to long-term memory, and connections are strengthened in the brain. And a very simple way to think of this is actually the 10,000 hour rule, which basically states that if we apply 10,000 hours of our time to anything, we could become experts at that very thing. So I took this information and I literally ran with it. I started running 5 kilometers every morning to create these new brain cells. Then I would go home and fill these newly created brain cells with meaningful information by stimulating my brain any way I could think of. I took up the guitar to practice my fine motor skills. I was reviewing notes I missed in med school to practice my memory and attention. I was writing an agenda every day to practice my organizational and planning skills. And I really tried to learn about all the different functional domains of the brain and ways to stimulate them to make sure that I was covering all of my bases. Another thing that I was doing during my recovery, and not because I knew of any, or I was aware of any benefits that it was having on my brain, was strength training. And this is because I was maybe not like Ben, as good as Ben, but I was a high-level athlete too. I played high-level hockey and soccer, and strength training, going to the gym was always a part of my routine. And what I learned after was that strength training, specifically resistance strength training, also has neuroplastic benefits. In a lot of ways, very similar to the way aerobic exercise does, although albeit to maybe a lesser extent, but it also produces brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is that miracle grow for brain cells. And what's really fascinating to me is that recent research has shown that incorporating both aerobic exercise and resistance strength training into your routine has a synergistic effect on neuroplasticity. So without me even realizing it, by focusing on both of these types of exercise in my routine, I was probably accelerating my recovery and the neuroplastic changes in my brain. And why do I show you this picture other than to demonstrate my extraordinary art skills? Well, you could think of a rainstorm as something to dread, something that's depressing, or you could think of it as something that's necessary to stimulate growth. And if I relate this back to my story, the moment that I stopped seeing myself as a victim of my circumstances is really the moment that I took my power back. I started researching ways to improve my recovery, and I learned about the pillars. And I really took my recovery as an opportunity to rebuild my brain the way I wanted to build it. And when I returned to medicine, at first I was very embarrassed and almost ashamed of being in medical school with a brain injury, because the brain was the one organ that I needed to thrive in this profession. But with time and with reflection, I started to think, wow, I've really gained so much knowledge and insight through this experience that I can now help people in ways that I could have never had it not been for that fateful day. So in a lot of ways, I'm extremely grateful for the accident and for this brain injury. And I really want to encourage all of you, no matter what challenge you're facing in life, to always try to flip the script, try to change your perspective and see the good in any experience or what good can become of it. And I promise you that that shift in perception will change your brain and change your life.